welcome to the Amygurumi studio. I'm Amy and I make amigurumi toys and plushies. This is the first video in my yarn review series. I'll be reviewing different yarn brands, so stay tuned. Before we start, let me mention a disclaimer that this video is neither sponsored by nor affiliated with the brands I mentioned. I bought all these yarn skeins using my own money. Now that we have the disclaimer out of the way, let us start. The brand in the spotlight today is Magic Needles. They have an in-house line called Hobby Store to produce yarn. They have many variants and we'll look at a few of the ones that I have. All the products they sell are certified as Standard 100 by Oikotex, which means they are safe and free from harmful chemicals. Since I make amigurumi, I use cotton yarn that will show all the stitches in a crisp manner. This is the Aran 6-ply cotton yarn. You can see that it has the Oikotex Standard 100 mark in the skein. It is a weight 4 medium worsted weight yarn. It is 100% cotton, has super low elasticity and can make very tight stitches. The ply does not unravel easily, so it is suitable for amigurumi projects. It is not fuzzy as it is cotton. I bought it for 124 rupees for a 100 gram skein. It is durable and it is available in a lot of colors on the website. The manufacturer recommends a size 4mm to 5mm hook, but I personally find that a 3mm hook works perfectly for my projects. When you work with a yarn and frog or unravel the stitches often, sometimes there is a minimal fuss that happens along the strands. To show you the stitches, let me get a turtle that I made. So here is a turtle that I made with a cotton 6-ply yarn. You can see that the stitches are well defined and crisp. There is also very minimal fuss. It holds its shape very well. It is not elastic and it feels tight. I would suggest the cotton 6-ply yarn to make amigurumi, wearables and crocheted bags. The next yarn variant we are going to see is the Aran Anti yarn. This yarn is thicker than the cotton 6-ply yarn and it is a weight 4 yarn. It is a 5-ply polyester medium worsted weight yarn. It is a bit fuzzy and makes moderately tight stitches. You can feel that it has a bit of a give when you tug on it. That is because it is made from polyester. By nature, acrylic or polyester yarn is a bit elastic. I will now compare it with the cotton 6-ply yarn. I must say that the Aran Anti yarn is a bit scratchy because of the polyester fibers. Here is the 6-ply cotton yarn in green. The cotton yarn is matte and has no give when you pull on it, but the Aran Anti yarn is shinier. You can also see that the Aran yarn is slightly thicker than the cotton 6-ply yarn. I find that this yarn creates a lot of fuss but does not unravel from the ply while working. It does have a little bit of elasticity to it, so you have to keep that in mind while working on amigurumi with this. I will show you my project where I use this yarn so you can get an idea of the amount of fuss this yarn has along with how elastic it is. Here are my peas in a pod to show you exactly what I mean. The stitches are less defined and the fuzz has to be singed off using a flame if you want a cleaner look. There are a few extra spaces between the stitches because it is slightly elastic. A size 4.5mm to 5.5mm hook is recommended by the manufacturer. I used a 4mm hook for my piece and it still has some gaps and feels loose. Remember that elasticity might cause loose stitches and gaps. I bought a 100 gram skein for 128 rupees, so it is almost the same price as the cotton 6-ply yarn. Sometimes you have to go a size smaller than the recommended hook size to get tighter stitches, especially when the yarn has elasticity. Let us move on to the next yarn in this series. The next yarn type we are going to explore is the DK Antipil yarn. It is a light polyester weight 3 yarn. DK is short for double knitting yarn, so it is also a good yarn to practice knitting with. As it is a light worsted yarn, it is thinner compared to the Aran Antipil yarn. It is because the Aran yarn is a weight 4 yarn while this is a weight 3 yarn. It also has a fuzzy texture that causes issues with crisp stitch definition, but it works well for projects like scarves, blankets and can even be used for rug tufting. I will compare it with the cotton 6-ply yarn to show you that they are almost of the same size when you work with them. I bought it for 124 rupees per skein. The manufacturer recommends a 4.5 mm hook. I have a work in progress using this yarn, so I cannot show you a finished project for now. I feel that the DK Antipil yarn is softer than the Aran Antipil yarn. It has the same elasticity and you need to go down a couple hook sizes to get tighter stitches. I find that this yarn is soft but a bit too fuzzy to see amigurumi stitches. The next yarn type is the DK 12-ply mercerized cotton yarn. This is super fine and since it is mercerized, it has a shiny effect. It is also stronger than the 6-ply cotton yarn. It is gassed, which means it is exposed to a hot flame to remove lint and fuzz. This means that the finished project will have very low fuzz. It also has zero elasticity. You can see how shiny and smooth it is. I bought it for 149 rupees per 100 gram skein, which makes it more expensive compared to the other yarn in this video. This is a weight 3 light worsted yarn and the manufacturer recommends a 3 mm to 4 mm crochet hook. I used a 2.5 mm hook and got super tight stitches. I will show you my project where I use this yarn with a 2.5 mm hook. Because it is super fine, I sized down. You can size down even further when working on doilies and fine wearable items. I made a fox out of cotton 6-ply yarn, but I wanted the ears to pop and have smaller stitches. So I used mercerized cotton yarn for the ears and scarf. Let me grab my fox. The ears of my fox are made with this yarn and you can see how well defined and super fine the stitches look. It is also shinier than regular cotton yarn. The scarf is also made of green mercerized cotton yarn. The fine nature makes it a bit fiddly to work with. The rest of the fox is made of rust colored cotton 6-ply yarn. We have at last arrived at my favorite part of the video. It is no secret that I love my chenille yarn. It is super soft, has elasticity and is cheaper than the yarn variants we have seen so far. The only con I can think of is that it sheds a lot and can break when you try to pull a magic ring closed. Chenille yarn is 100% polyester and can be used for making plushies and other cozy projects. This is also called Vella yarn or velvet yarn. The first one we will see is the Aran Chenille yarn. This is the thinnest variant of chenille yarn offered by Hobby Store. This cake is sold at 96 rupees per 100 grams. It is recommended by the manufacturer to use a 4 to 5 mm crochet hook. This is a weight 4 medium worsted weight yarn. It is so soft that I keep using it in my plushies. It is also very useful to make mini no-sew projects like mochi cats, bears and keychain ornaments. Let me show you how thick it is when compared to the normal Aran Antipil yarn. It is slightly thinner as compared to the Antipil yarn. Let me take the green Aran yarn and show you the difference. Even though they are both Aran yarn, the chenille yarn is thinner and softer, making it useful for small plushies. Here is a bear on toast that I made completely using Aran Chenille yarn. You can see how thin the stitches are while preserving the softness and plush look of the chenille yarn. It is mildly elastic and the polyfill can show through the stitches if you overstuff your plushies. The second chenille variant is the chenille bulky yarn. This cake was bought for 94 rupees per 100 grams. It is slightly thicker than the Aran chenille yarn. It is a weight 5 chunky yarn which can be used with 5 mm to 6 mm crochet hooks. This is also available in a wide variety of colors. It is more forgiving and elastic than Aran chenille yarn. I will now compare the strands of Aran Chenille yarn and the bulky chenille yarn to show you the difference between the thread and thickness. Here the lavender yarn is the bulky chenille yarn while the maroon yarn is the Aran Chenille yarn. You can see that the lavender yarn is thicker. It will create slightly bigger plushies than Aran Chenille yarn. I usually use a 4.5 mm crochet hook to make my plushies so that the toy stuffing does not show. Chenille yarn is ideal for oversized plushies and amigurumi projects. It is ultra soft and can make cozy blankets for the winter. Chenille yarn does shed a lot. You can watch a little further to see my tip for securing the strands and keeping the chenille yarn from shedding. I will now show you another clip where I compare the Aran Chenille yarn with the bulky chenille yarn. You can see that the bulky yarn is slightly bigger than the Aran yarn, but the difference is not that pronounced. If you want a super chunky yarn that is bigger, you can go for the weight 6 super bulky yarn from Magic Needles. Sometimes when you work with chenille yarn, it tends to shed. I will show you what happens when you pull on it. Here you can see that when I tug it, the fuzzy strands shed. When that happens, it is useful to separate the central strand into two and tie a knot to secure the yarn and prevent shedding. Tying a knot is more secure than burning the ends with a flame. It takes only a few seconds and you will save a lot of hassle working on your project. I will show you the same with the bulky chenille yarn. I will tug on it to get the fibers to shed. Here we go. Now you can see the central strand. Here the central strand is already split into two. So all you have to do is tie the strands together. One other thing to keep in mind is that you need to be gentle while pulling on chenille yarn to close magic rings. With this, we come to the end of the video. I hope it was useful and you were able to get some ideas for your projects. You can follow my Instagram page for updates. I will link it below. See you in the next video.